For this example, I'm going to walk through a computation for a grade point average, or more commonly called a GPA. A grade point average is actually just an example of a weighted average. So I've gone ahead and written down the formula for the weighted average. The symbol for the weighted average is X bar. And then my formula says sigma, which just stands for summation or addition of W times X divided by sigma of W. And I've gone ahead and defined W is the weight of the corresponding value for X. So I'm going to show you, hopefully, a relatively easy way using some columns how to quickly get this calculation. So here's my example. Suppose a student took 5 classes last semester for a total of 16 credits. The final grades were, they've got an A in a 4-credit class, a B in a 3-credit class, a B plus in a 3-credit class, a C in a 3-credit class, and a D plus in a 3-credit class. And the question, of course, asks us to find the GPA for this semester. So like I said, I want to use kind of a little table to help me set up this particular problem. The first thing I'm going to do, though, is make sure I understand what my W and what my X is. So it says W is going to be the weight, or in this case, it's going to be the particular value of the grade. The corresponding X value is going to be the credits. So in this case, if I follow my formula, what I'm going to want to do is multiply W times X and divide that by W. So I'm actually going to set up 2 columns, one for W and one for X. So again, W is my weight or my grade. So I've got an A, I've got a B, I've got a B plus, I've got a C, and I've got a D plus. Obviously, I can't multiply letters by some number, in this case the credits, and get an answer that makes sense. So instead, what I need to do is translate these grades into their corresponding what are called quality points. So we should know, or it'll be given to you in the problem, that an A corresponds to 4 points, a B corresponds to 3 points, a B plus is going to correspond to 3.5 points, a C corresponds to 2 points, and a D plus would correspond to 1.5 points. So similarly, all the missing grades in here, right, a C plus would be 2.5 points, a D would be 1 point, and F would be no points, etc. So these will either be given to you or something that you could look up. So next it says I've got X, which are my values in generic form, or in this case my credits. So my A was a 4-credit class, and then all the others were 3 credits. And so now I really do have everything I need to just plug into this formula. So it says I'm going to need to take W times X. So 4 times 4 gives me 16. 3 times 3 gives me 9. 3.5 times 3 gives me 10.5. 2 times 3 gives me 6. And then 1.5 times 3 gives me 4.5. So I'm just really following the formula here. I've done order of operations, what's inside the parentheses. So in order to get my numerator, all I need to do is just add all these values up. So if I take a minute with my calculator and add these up, it turns out that that adds to 46. So right now in my formula, I just did the summation of W times X, and I found the answer to be 46. The denominator is just the summation of the weights. So again, if I go to my W column and I add all these values up, I actually get 14. So again, the denominator is the sum of the weights, which we just found to be 14. And now we would take 46 divide it by 14, we'd throw that into our calculators. It gives you 3.2857 ... Most calculators will give you 8 or 9 decimal places. Conventional number of decimal places for grade point average is just 2. So we would actually round this, and the semester GPA would end up being a 3.29. So again, a GPA is just an example of a weighted average. I like to go ahead and use these little tables. I think it makes doing your calculation pretty quick and easy. I also like to take the time to go ahead and define what my weight is and what my values are, but then it's just a matter, order of operations, plugging into that formula, getting that final answer, and again, conventional notation is 2 decimal places for GPA.